All right, so we're going to be still using this formula right here, okay? Y equals mx plus b. Okay, remember, your m value is your slope. Remember, slope is not mx. So if there was a 2x right there, your slope is not 2x. Your slope is just 2, okay? The x is just part of the equation. It's not connected to your slope at all. It's just an x next to it. And then the b value is your y-intercept, okay? In other words, that's where your point touches the x, or your line touches the y-axis. I almost said x-axis. It's where your line touches the y-axis. So that's where you would normally put a point on your y-axis, okay? We're going to focus on this equation only. We're not going to change anything around. This is the equation that we're dealing with today, all right? So everything is based on that. All right. Now, they are going to give us some problems that we're going to have to do in many different ways utilizing that equation. So like the first thing they're going to ask us to do is, and this is more of a review, example number 1. All right, so example number 1 says, write the slope-intercept form. Write the slope-intercept form. Okay, and they're going to give you an equation, okay, some kind of equation. So I'll give you this one right here. 2y minus 11 equals negative 7x. So I know the equation looks weird, but remember, our whole point, whenever they tell you to write the slope-intercept form, is to solve for what letter? Y, right? I got to solve for y. That's my whole job. Get y by itself. So look at this problem right here. 2y minus 11 equals negative 7x. What should I move? Yeah, I can move the 11, right? So let's add it. Let's add 11 to both sides. Now remember, you cannot add 11 and the 7x, okay? Those are not like terms. So you just get to put them together. So right now we get 2y equals to negative 7x plus 11. Now to solve for y, I get to do one more thing. What is that? Say a little louder. I think I heard it. Divide. Okay, there you go. Divide by 2, right? So divide by 2. Yeah, the AC gets a little loud, so sometimes I can hear you. I just can't make out what you said. So negative 7 over 2x plus 11 over 2, and that's your answer, and you're done. Okay? So you're going to have 2 problems in your homework like this, or actually just one, because I just did one for you, where the whole goal is to just solve for y. That's it. You don't have to graph it or anything like that. And I think yesterday, AJ, was it you that asked me if b can be fractions? Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. It can be. So you would just go to 5.5 and put a dot right there. Okay? So yeah, the b value can be fractions. It's just not something we like to see, but it can happen. All right? So hopefully that wasn't too bad. Just solving for y. Okay? Now, they're going to give you so the next 2 questions in your homework are going to be the following type. So let me write this out here. Example number 2. It's going to say, write the slope-intercept form given a slope and y-intercept. In other words, if I give you m and I give you b, can you write y equals mx plus b? That's basically what they're saying. So these are really simple because, I mean, they're not going to make it super obvious, but let me just show you what the problem's going to look like. So they might say, okay, the slope is equal to negative 3/4, and the y-intercept is, let's say, a negative 2 here. This is what the problem's going to look like. Write the slope-intercept form given a slope and Y-intercept. In other words, we're giving you everything you need. Can you just write it out? Okay? So all you have to do is say, okay, they gave me slope. In other words, I know m is negative 3/4. And they gave me my Y-intercept. What letter is that again? That's B, right? So they told me B is negative 2. All I have to do is write my equation. My equation is y equals mx plus b. So all I'm going to do is just plug in m and b into my problem, and I'm done. That's it. So y equals m is negative 3/4 x minus 2, and that's it. Like I told you guys earlier, they're making you do a lot of different things in this homework assignment. So the lesson might be a little bit longer than I prefer. Usually 20 minutes is what I aim for. Might be half an hour. I'm hoping not, but it's just there's a lot of things that they're making you do in this assignment. There's like 5 different ways to do the work. So I got to show you a couple. Now these are pretty quick. I'm only showing you one of each because they're only giving you 2 total. And they're not terribly difficult. Okay? Even the next problem is not terribly difficult. You just have to know how to attack it. But then the back side of your homework, that one gets a little more complicated. Okay? So the front side should be easier. Back side can be a little tougher. Okay? Any questions on this one? Just plugging in your information and that's all you have to do? All right. So, example number 3. Again, these are all the front side. After example 3, we move on to the back side, okay? So write the slope-intercept form. Write the slope-intercept form given a graph. Now, I'm not going to do this from your homework. You have 2 graph problems. I'm not going to do any of them, okay? I'm just going to create one right now. Don't be mad. They're pretty easy still, okay? Trust me, they're not that bad. It's the back side that gets a little more complicated. I don't think it gets like insanely difficult, but it's going to be harder than what we've been doing so far, that's for sure. All right, so let me go ahead and put my marks on this right here. So here we go. All right. Now I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to try my best. All right, that's pretty good. The line I drew is pretty much what I wanted it to look like, okay? Now, pay attention to where my line crossed the x-intercept and the y-intercept if you're trying to draw the same exact line. So look at my x and y axis where it's passing, okay? That way you get a decent graph like mine. So what they want me to do is write the slope-intercept form of this graph. Remember, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, right? So what 2 things do I need? Say a little louder. What 2 things do I need? In order to finish this problem, what 2 pieces of information do I need to know? The slope and the y-intercept, okay? So, can you tell me what my y-intercept is? That's usually the easier one. 1, right? Because it crosses right here, right? Right there. That's where it crosses, right at 1. Okay? So I know that b is equal to 1. Okay? Okay. To figure out my slope, all I need to do is pick one more point and then count. Remember how we did like 2 lessons ago where we just had pictures and we would count up and to the right or down and to the right? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pick one more point. Here you go. I'm going to pick this point right here. Okay? How many times do I have to go up and to the right to go from the green dot to the red dot? I got to go up how many times? One, and then over twice. So this is a half, right? It's a half. So m is equal to half. And that's it. Like, that's the hard part. After that, just plug it into your problem. So y equals half x plus 1. And you're done. Remember, if your graph is going downhill, then you better expect your m value to be negative. Okay, if it's going downhill, then your slope is going to be a negative number. Okay? But you have two problems like that. This is not a homework problem. This is completely different. But I mean, it's very similar. It's just two graphs. Okay? Any questions on this one? Because right now we're going to go to the back of the homework, and like I said, that's where it gets a little bit more intense. So I'll try doing at least 2 of them from one section and 2 from the other. Okay, and these take a while. So the B? Oh, it's called the Y-intercept, right? B? So look at my Y-axis. Where did it cross? The red dot right there. That's the one, right? So yeah, you're going to look for where it crosses the Y-axis. That'll be your B value. And that's why I put it first, because finding the B value usually is the easiest thing to do first. And then your slope, well, you just pick another point and count. So like I said, these problems that we've done, examples 1, 2, and 3, pretty easy. Okay, if this was all the homework, you guys can get it done 5 minutes probably, and that's it. But the backside is a little more challenging. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to the backside of the homework. So example number 4. Says, write the slope-intercept form. Notice they're giving us a whole assignment on just writing equations in this form. Remember how I told you how important this equation is for math even further out, right? 4 years into college, you still see this equation. It doesn't go away because it's very important. So they're really trying to get you to understand, like, look, this is important. Here's different ways you can use it. So, write the slope-intercept form. Given a slope and a point. So just a slope and a point. All right, so let's see. Write the slope-intercept form given a slope and a point. Notice they didn't say we're giving you the slope and the y-intercept. They're not giving me m and b. They're giving me m and a point xy. All right, so here we go. Part A. And these are definitely from your homework, okay? Let me see if I can give you a problem here. It says it's going to go through 4, 1, and then a slope equal to negative 1/4. Okay? So what I know based on this information is that I have this point, 4, 1, and m equal to negative 1/4. Okay? If I had to write my equation out, I'm going to use y equals mx plus b, right? That makes sense because that's what I have to do. Y equals mx plus b. But what's the only piece of information? Well, normally I need to find m and b, right? What's the only piece of information they gave me from those two? Well, they gave me a point, but from m and b, they gave me only the m, right? Only the m. So let me do this really quick. So what do I need to figure out to finish this problem? The b value. But they didn't give it to me. But like you said, I think it was Autumn that said it. They did give me a point that's on that line. That point is xy, right? Wouldn't you always classify this as an x value and a y value on the point, right? So let me plug that into my equation. Y equals mx plus b as well. So here you go. I'll use different color just so you can see the change here. 1 equals to negative 1/4 times 4 plus b. What's a quarter times 4? What's 1/4 times 4? It's 1. Yeah, just divide. Cancel, right? 4 divided by 4. I always tell my daughters the same thing. If you ever multiply a fraction times a number, divide first. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and then you multiply, and 1 times 1 is 1. So this comes out to 1 equal to negative 1, plus b. All right. To get b by itself, let me add 1 on both sides. So I get 2 equals to b. There you go. I found the missing piece. So y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 2. And that's it. I'm done. Notice, not as simple as the ones in the beginning. Okay? These are a little tougher. So we're going to do 3 of these. I'm going to do one more that's kind of like this, and then one that looks harder, but it's actually a little easier. Go ahead.
Did you multiply the x?
Yeah, I multiplied these two things together.
So you always multiply the x with the slope?
With the slope, yeah, because it's mx, right? Those are stuck together. So slope times x. Any other questions on this one? So I'm going to do one more. You have 6 of these types of problems. Okay, I'm going to do one more from the homework, 2 more from the homework, but one more that's kind of like this, a little bit more on the tougher side. And then we're going to do one that looks difficult, but it's really not. You just got to remember one of the special graphs, okay? So here we go. Part B. So let's try one that's not a fraction. So we'll go through, let me put this up here, through negative 2 comma 5 and a slope of negative 4. Okay, so it's going through negative 2, 5, and my slope is negative 4. So I'm just going to write the information again. Negative 2, 5, m equals negative 4. Now I'm going to write my formula just to remind myself. You guys will notice, I mean, we haven't been doing a lot of formulas all year yet, but we're starting to get into it. You'll notice I tend to write my formulas over and over and over again. Y equals mx plus b. You'll see me write it right now over and over again, because that's how I taught myself how to memorize formulas. If you write them all the time, you're going to memorize them without even trying. Whereas if you sit there and try to memorize it, it's harder. But if you just keep writing them over and over again, unconsciously, you're going to memorize your stuff. Okay? So I recommend rewriting them all the time, but you don't have to. That's your choice. But I do recommend. All right. I know what m is. That's a negative 4. So y is equal to negative 4x plus b. And again, I don't have my b value, so I got to figure out the b value. They did give me a point, x comma y, right? I'm going to kind of label it again here, x, y. They gave me a point, so let me plug that in. So this is 5 equals negative 4 times negative 2 plus b. Well, negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. And to get b by itself, all I have to do is subtract 8 on both sides. So if I subtract 8 here and here, I get negative 3 equals to b. Okay? Negative 3 equals b. So now that I know what b is and I know what m is, I can write my formula. So y equals m, which is negative 4, x plus b, which is minus 3. And there's my answer. So, I mean, are these problems really that difficult? They're not too bad, but it does take more time, okay? You do have to plug in other information that we haven't done yet to find missing pieces and stuff like that. but it's not terribly difficult. Okay? So I'm going to do one more of these, but you're going to kind of see it's not as long as it's going to appear. There's two problems in these 6 that I'm going over that are really quick, but they look like they're not. Okay? So let me show you this one. I'm doing the one that's a little bit more confusing, or at least it looks more confusing. And in order to do this one, you have to remember what we talked about yesterday. Okay? If something has a slope of 0, I'm going to kind of put this up here. A slope of 0 is a horizontal line. A slope that's undefined is vertical. Now, if you remember, yesterday we talked about horizontal lines. The definition was y equal to some number, right? And then the vertical lines were x equal to some number. Right? We kind of talked about that yesterday. So notice how my slope is undefined here. So what kind of line is this? If it's undefined? A vertical line, right? Straight line that's vertical, right? Now, in order to write an equation for a vertical line, it's supposed to say x equals to a number, correct? What number is x according to the information they gave me? 4. So guess what? Here's my answer. I'm done. That's it. Okay? That's all there is to it. So it does look like it's going to be weird and difficult because it says undefined, but in reality, you just have to remember, okay, we learned about horizontal and vertical lines yesterday. An undefined slope is considered a vertical line, and the formula for a vertical line is x equals whatever the x value is. My x value is 4. My y value is -3, but I just need the x value, so x equals 4. That's all I need. Go ahead.
What if it was looking for y? It was slope equals 0.
So those you actually will do, but notice if your slope is 0, isn't it going to cancel out your x value when you do the work? Right? It's going to say y equals mx plus b. If slope is 0, this goes away. So it's just y equals to your y value.
So
Right? It would be -3. Yeah, a horizontal line would be -3. And that's actually what the question is going to ask you here. They're going to give you a slope of 0, which you know, oh, that's flat. And then they give you the point. You just got to get the y value and write it down. So yeah. So like I said, there's 2 of them that are kind of wacky. Here's one of them. The other one is slope of 0. But they should be pretty easy to do. All right. Now this was not the hard ones. The next one are the hard ones. Okay? Because it just starts to ask for more from you. So I'll only do one of these. If you guys want me to do another one, I will. But we're approaching the 23-minute mark of lesson, and I know it's tough to listen to math for, well, maybe not for me, but maybe for students, it's tough to listen to math for over like 20 minutes. So you might be saying it's tough to listen to math for more than 2 minutes. But yeah, I don't want to try to extend this too long. But I'll do one of these, and then if you guys want to see more, I'll do it. But if not, if you're like, I get what you did, then I'll stop and let you guys work on the homework. Okay? For that one, yes. And if the slope is 0, you just identify the y value. Okay? Because that means it's going to be a flat line. Yes, it would be y equals -3. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Write the slope-intercept form. Given 2 points. Okay? Write the slope-intercept form given 2 points. Not given a slope, not given a y-intercept. They didn't give you anything but 2 points. Okay? So here we go. We're going to use 2 points. I'll do the one that looks the hardest. So here you go. -2, 2. and negative 1, 3. So I think this is probably going to be like the hardest one out of all of them. So, and they're all going to look like this. They're going to give you 2 points only, but this one just has more negatives in it and stuff like that. So, okay, if I'm trying to write this equation, I'm going to put it over here to the right side because it's just going to be a reference. What do I need? I need a slope. Can I find the slope if they give me 2 points? Yeah, right? We learned a formula, right? Now, unfortunately, some of us did it wrong on the test, upside down and stuff, but there is a formula that is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and that's my slope. I just need 2 points, and that's exactly what they gave me. So we haven't had to solve for the slope yet. This is going to be the first time. And there's 4 problems like this, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Now remember, guys, when you label these points, x1, y1, not x1, x2, okay? That was a problem I saw a lot of people do. They got the first point and they called both terms x's. Remember, a point consists of an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate, not 2 x-coordinates, not 2 y-coordinates. It's 1 and 1, x and y, okay? So x1, y1, x2, y2, all right? You can't mess this part up or else it's over at that point. You got to get this part right. So here we go. M equals to y sub 2, that's 3, minus y sub 1, that's 2, over x sub 2, and actually I should put this in parentheses to follow my own suggestion to you guys. Always put the second number that you write in parentheses. On the bottom, x sub 2, that's negative 1, minus x sub 1, that's negative 2. All right, so my slope is going to be on the very top. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to add these things up. So m is equal to 1 over 1, which is a slope of 1. We're going to use that slope to plug it into our main equation. So we're going to plug it in over here. Y equal to 1x plus b, or just y equal to x plus b. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use one of the previous points. So we'll try negative 1, 3. We're going to use one of those points to plug into this equation right here to find b. So 3 is equal to negative 1 plus b. Add 1 to both sides. You'll get 4 equal to b. So now that we know what m is, which is 1, and b, which is 4, we can plug that into our equations and we'll be done. So it's going to be y equal to 1x, so just x, plus 4. And that's the answer that we need.